Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are going to be continuing the narration and character voicing for the An Obscure Wanderer side story in Arknights. A side story where we follow our dear beloved, always grumpy, always I don't want to help people, but I will still help people, Uncle Mlynar, as he goes out into the border regions of the Casimirian territory in the search of clues about certain two people from the family that went away a long time ago. And first off, thanks for the likes on the previous video, much appreciated, helps a lot. But yes, he definitely does not horse around. Thank you for that one. I don't think I had as much eye rolling exercise as I had in a while, so keep on coming. I love me some bad puns. That one got me. Anyway, thanks for that. Jeez. But anyway, we will continue today with our next two stories in line, and before we do that, we will go very quickly over our first three stories from the first episode. I won't be posting a timestamp in the comment section because I'm just gonna keep myself brief. Usually on vignette stories I would not do a recap of the previous part, but these are all connected. This is all one storyline going through all of these, so I'm gonna have to do what I always do. But anyway, in Hermit Abode we've seen Mlynar in the countryside meet with an old acquaintance. Even though he might claim that he does not remember the man does remember him, and he is a former Leithanian citizen who ran away from his home territory because of some things that happened to him in his past life, and had to go in hiding. While Mlynar did obviously notice the refugee among the people that he was saving, he let him pass, and the man is forever thankful to him. In the meantime, he also tells him about happenings around the territory that he is currently in, around the building of new industry in the area and such. And in the meantime, we also see a meeting between a certain bounty hunter by the name of Tolan that we do meet in the Nearl Light story, plus a new character of sorts that we did not see before, by the name of Chitsibor, a campaign knight of a higher rank, essentially, a campaign captain knight. Captain campaign knight? Whatever. They have a brief conversation, and from that one we learn that the sword that Mlynar usually uses, his own private sword, is currently in the hands of his campaign knights for maintenance. Then in the second story we meet Desch, a attorney from the Casimir's territory, who has been sent to pretty much negotiate the price of a land, and the way that went, that company would be buying that land for freaking dirt cheap. But at the end of all things, at that same evening where she pretty much secures the deal already, she has a change of heart, thinking about her past and how she always wanted to fight for the right thing as a lawyer. She hands the other lawyer that was hired by the villagers a couple of breadcrumbs to fight back with. A couple of very, very powerful breadcrumbs. They probably come from a baguette. Baguettes are dangerous. But he is overjoyed, and she declares that she's gonna be going to need a new job very soon. Or rather, she's gonna go and look for a new job. And we know where that is headed. Considering she is an operator. But in the third story we see Flametail and Ashlock, who are out and about in the same region on the very first mission that has been given to them by Rhode Island themselves, where they are to just meet and negotiate with infected in the territory. But they run into a couple of troublesome events, pretty much being chased away. And they run into the biggest fanboy of their very own nightclub, the Pinus Silvestris nightclub. And, or rather, let's put it this way, he might be a fan of the whole nightclub, but he is definitely a fanboy of Ashlock. that was great. I love the guy. Better nothing bad happened to the guy, I swear. But yeah. They meet the guy, they have a discussion. He is apparently suspect number 1, even gives himself to the authorities, but gets later bailed out as Flametail and Ashlock negotiate with Mlynar that they run into to essentially help them, and he gets to go free. Also, completely forgot to say that yes, Desh also runs into Mlynar. Mlynar pretty much has apparently a knack of I don't wanna associate with people, but people associate with me apparently. But anyway, today we are gonna be continuing with the next 2 stories, like I said, titled No Peace, which has our dear little plastic knight on top here, and the next one being the Sunken Sun, which apparently is gonna focus more around Toland. But anyway, let us begin with the first one, titled No Peace. November 30th, 8 p.m. Dzwonek. The TV news. The Lithanians had high praise for our city's prosperity, and the parties quick reach an agreement. It is expected that regular trade will be established between Dzwonek and the Lithanian city of Graufield. A Lithanian-inspired commercial district is also currently under construction on a new plate, the first phase of a project focusing on Lithanian art and music. A spokesman for contractor Gale Industries touted the design of the new district, the brainchild of a world-famous architect, and promised that it will become a new landmark for Casimir's. The project is expected to be a massive boon for the city's tourism industry. Oops, cut this one a little thin. Honey, why don't you put that away? It's time to pick up our boy from school. Can he get home on his own? I know he says you're nosy, but he doesn't mean it. Nosy, huh? He's got a noble knight picking him up personally, the ungrateful brat. He was having so much fun playing with those peasants. Just be patient, dear. You said it yourself. People will forget all about plastic chefchick before long, and then we'll be safe. Back to the TV news. Next up, new infected riots have been reported in the old district. The National Council is currently investigating the incidents. The police have acknowledged that Zeno Shelvin, the infected ringleader who had previously turned himself in, has escaped custody. A number of officers have been suspended in connection with the escape. A reward is being offered for information regarding... You heard the news, right? You should go soon. We came all the way to Dzwonek, even living among the common folk, but it looks like trouble is never far away. To think I used to be worried about you getting hurt in the arena, and now I'm worried about our little boy making it home from school. You're overreacting. The press loves to exaggerate these things. If there were a real threat, we wouldn't be hearing about public investigations from the National Council. The only problem is the incompetent police who don't know how to track down the infected without ID numbers. On their own, they're not much of a... Of course, the infected make a good excuse to sell people insurance and protective gear, especially after what happened at the Major. Well, if it's so safe, why are you going out in full armor? Alright, fine. Then I won't worry, Sir Knight. This statue marks the edge of the central district. The other plates are old and there isn't much to see there. May I inquire as to the containers stacked up over there? That's just an abandoned district. There used to be a cargo passage leading down to the lower levels. After it was closed, all containers from decommissioned trucks began to pile up. Of course, we're currently working hard at giving Zwanek a facelift. Abandoned districts like these are all slated to be rebuilt very soon, and you won't see any trace of them by the next time you're here. Is that so? I'd rather like how the colorful containers come together to form part of the cityscape. Is that so? I suppose Lithanians do have an eye for art. You flatter me. It's getting rather late though. I shan't keep you. It's no problem at all. It's been my pleasure to show you our city's nightscape. But you also have the ribbon-cutting ceremony to attend tomorrow. Perhaps we should return to the hotel. Incidentally, if you enjoy music, I also have a few best-selling albums from Zwanek here. Would you like to have a listen to them in your room? Ah, that's very kind of you, but I've already packed the pieces I wish to enjoy tonight. I hope I'm causing no offense. No, of course not. Then I will take my leave here. Good night, and we will be back to pick you up tomorrow. I've asked around, sir. But are you really sure you want to go out, at this hour? Are we being watched? Not right now, as far as I can tell. Then let's. I'd prefer to end this trip on a high note. How do you feel? How do you think I feel? Does my leg look like it's getting better? This was from a legit pharmacy and it costs a pretty penny. It's not working. Wouldn't be the first time stuff from legit sources didn't work. What happened to the plan if you can't walk? Shh. Someone's coming. May I help you, sir? We have nothing to do with any attacks, and we don't know the man you're with. The cops have been here a few times already. Everyone checked out clean. I'm looking for the Weaver. Oh, you're friends with them? Didn't look like it. Go around the dark red container. You'll find an empty tailor shop with a hidden door in the back, leading to a long alley. Ask around when you reach the warehouse. Not even a word of thanks. What do you expect from a noble? Back to the plan. You got word from the boss? Yeah, it's urgent and it's happening tonight. Getting cold feet? A little, but it's like fighting gloom pincers. There's no turning back. It'll be worth it, even if just to make the people in high places sweat a little. I heard they're finally cleaning up that junk across the street and expanding the commercial district towards the east. Finally. Yeah, they should have blown it up ages ago. We've got kids from nearby schools playing hide and seek in it, and that's an accident waiting to happen. Who knows how filthy it is in all those containers and shacks. Homeless, infected. Seriously, why do they even want to live in slums like that? Life would be so much better if they left for one of the villages in the Barrenlands. The light's green, let's go. A loud noise and the grey skies of the abandoned district are lit up by flames. What was that? Something exploded? Run! Why are you standing there like that? Get out of the way! Did I hear you say that kids from nearby schools play in the abandoned district? Aloysia? Are you okay, sir? I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Don't blame yourself. I'm not hurt, and I was the one who insisted on coming to the slums. But it looks like there's a wall of rubble between us. I'll find another path and meet up with you, sir. The explosion was rather near our position, however. Please be careful, and this could potentially be a targeted attack. Alright, I'll wait here. I hear voices. A sobbing child. It hurts, ow! An anxious child. Come on, get this sheet of metal off him, he's bleeding. A nervous child. I'm trying, it's so dark I can't see. What if I make a mistake and open up the wound? Even if people are watching, I should be able to use Originium arts to move some of the stones and metal from them without drawing attention. Was this really targeted at me though? My visit to the abandoned district wasn't on the itinerary. And Aloysia would have noticed if someone was tailing me. It's dark, I wanna go home. You're not gonna leave me, right? Hold on, let's grab a rock. Hey, is someone coming? A businessman? Government official? No, it's the man I encountered beneath the statue yesterday, with an infected by his side. He's deeply prejudiced against Lethanian, and the infected with him doesn't exactly seem like the amicable sort. I should stay out of sight. Did you see an infected with a scar on his arm? The nervous child just shakes their head. I don't care who you are, we're not scared of you. What's going on here? Could you help get our friend out? His leg got caught by a sharp piece of metal, and it bleeds if we try to move. Did he just glance at me? If only I had my tools. If this was one of our workers, we'd have just dragged him out. I don't have any better ideas. Mlynar just proceeds to yoink the child out of the rubble, apparently. The child screaming. It's bleeding. The wound looks scary. Don't cry. I'll tie it up with some clothes. And don't worry, my dad used to get hurt all the time. He says a couple of days is all it takes to get better. Just a flesh wound. Get it treated at a hospital. Alright, come on, take my shoulder. Lethanian. How long do you plan on watching from there? This abandoned district is even worse than the infected district in the Granite territory. When I catch that brat, he's getting a stern lesson on where is and is not appropriate for a noble to visit. Damn it, where did he go? Hey, did you see any kids playing around here? Whose kid? It's such a big place, I can't possibly remember the face of every kid. Then cut the crap. Why are you trying to run? There's nowhere else for you people to go in this city anyway. Look, I'll pay you to go back and rescue any children you see. And if you run into anyone else, you can tell them too. That I'll pay for each child that they bring back to me. Who are you? This isn't some kind of sick joke, is it? Here's the cash. You can choose whether you want it or not. This is... Yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir. Sending people into a fire, eh? Must be nice having money to burn. Mr. Plastic Shevchik. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't worry, I know a lot of things and you're not one of the important ones. If you're not here to help, then don't waste my time. Let me put it this way. Obsolete goods like you are worth less than nothing. It takes a bigger target to start this fire. What do you mean? Who caused the explosion? Who dares harm my son? No need to shout, you don't scare me. But I do enjoy watching rich folks like you flee for your lives, losing whatever you hold dearest. If you think you can get under my nerves with this crap, then you're wasting your time and mine. Look, that billboard is about to fall. How many evacuees will it kill, and will your son be among them? Wanna bet? An arrow whistles past him before he can finish his sentence. 0 and no. The billboard is now pinned to a wall by the arrow. Now, let's talk business. I could use a guide who knows the lay of the land here. You want to go in yourself? I'm finding my son and getting him out of here. Now get moving, unless you'd like to be pinned to a wall too. I must warn you that any threat made upon my life will result in a diplomatic incident between Casimirs and Lethanian. Diplomatic incident? You'd better explain why you're here first. Since when were our slums considered a tourist attraction? I don't recall threatening you either. All I did was tell you to come with us. You're hostile towards me, towards Lethanian. Do you really think your deceitful words and suspicious activities truly represent all of Lethanian? Perhaps we've misunderstood each other. Someone else is responsible for the explosion. But I will not let my guard down against you. My hand is on my wand. Suit yourself. Sir, someone's calling for help over there. Can you hear it? Should we help or... Well, actually, I was wondering, aren't you afraid of being arrested for being with me like this? There is no reason for them to do that. And you're not worried about getting infected? Let's go. If you're here to help these people, I'm more than willing to demonstrate my good faith. Of standing around doing nothing. I regret not using my Reginium art to aid the child, out of concern for my own safety. Visitor from Lethanian, why did you come here? Please don't doubt my good faith. To be honest, I came here because I envy the cities of Casimirs. The modern Casimirs? Yes, where nobles, entrepreneurs, and commoners can all walk on the same street without anyone having to give way to one another. Where the goods in the shops are made for everyone, whether they can use Originium arts or not, whether they appreciate music or not. Here people can pursue any lifestyle they want as long as they have money, and there is plenty of opportunity for that. I only wish the people in my fief had the same energy, and that more of them could live better lives. Opportunity, a better life. Don't tell me someone of your position and experience could be blinded by superficial appearances. Of course, I understand that I'm only being shown the best side. I've seen more than enough gold and jewels in the brief time that I've been here. Which is exactly why I wanted to come to where the poor live, to see the people whom your rules have cast aside. Thus I will learn from them and improve upon the system. A faint cry for help? No, I don't want to die. I can't walk yet, please! A secondary explosion. It must be due to the high temperatures. It's dangerous here. Are we really going to look for the person you mentioned? What if they're already fled? I can't have you getting hurt helping me. I have my own businesses here. If you truly are acting in good faith, Lethanian, you will open a path here. There may yet be hope if we head there immediately. The voice came from behind the wall. The doors warped I'll try to clear a way with my arts. It'll take some time, though. Go ahead. If I'd meant to harm you, I would have done so by now. Very well. The fire's spreading. I was caught in a fire once, many years ago. Someone tried to set the Count's tower ablaze the day the Witch King's light faded from Lithanian. The arsonist was never found. Perhaps many who had been slaves to fear threw kindling upon the flames all at once, the moment they could breathe again. The fire itself didn't cause too much damage. My father's casters quickly brought it under control. Treasures could be replaced, as could servants. But I couldn't help but think that the fact that I continue to live in comfort and luxury is perhaps the reason they lit that fire. And what of you? Why do you stand in the flames with no fear on your face? Even if you deny it, you look like one who has seen the burning fires of war up close. Done. The voice becomes increasingly discernible as the dust clears. The faint light of Virginium arts illuminates a room that looks like it has been turned over. Furniture is scattered across the ground, and any signs of life are long gone from the body, buried beneath the rubble. The only sound comes from a radio on the ground. The radio. Here are the assignments for squads around Zvonik for the new equipment test. Intel obtained from the captured Lithanian spy indicates that Lithanian has developed multiple arts units designed to penetrate Casimir's knight armor, in preparation for the war with Lithanian. A hand snatches up the radio and smashes it on the ground. The Lithanian noble grows pale as he processes what he just heard. Zvonik, an important military outpost, still has the bones of sentry towers and turrets hidden in the corners. This was what he told the Casimir's knight standing before him the day before. The great steel eye remains focused on Lithanian, on him. I didn't hear anything. I don't know. His eyes land on the caster, rapidly approaching his counterpart from behind. Aloysia, kill him! Yes, sir. We'll be trapped by the fire if you don't turn back. You've rescued everyone who could be rescued along the way. It doesn't look like anyone else is breathing down here. Neither of us found what we were looking for, but one less piece of intel doesn't make a huge difference. As for you, I'm sure you have dozens of sons waiting for you on the main street by now. Someone's fighting here. Let go of my wand, infected. No. You'd better be prepared to get infected blood on you if you want to harm my savior. Out of the way, Zeno. Huh? An arrow whistles past the young infected's cheek just as he is pushed away. Blasted infected, I remember your face. You're the culprit behind the riots. And you, Mlynar Nearl, I knew someone was backing them. What are you plotting? What are you doing here? House Nearl just can't help but side with the infected, can it? Who are you to question House Nearl? Why are you dragging us into trouble? This is far away from the Grand Knight territory. Let's go, Aloysia. You let the Lithanians get away. Answer me. What are you planning? Where's my son? Enough. Do you really believe everything the press reports? Don't tell me you're still as foolish as the day you first lost in that ridiculous competition and drowned yourself in wine. You! I saw a boy with purple hair. If he has the slightest sense of responsibility, he'll have accompanied his friend to the hospital. Alright, I'll believe you for now. But there will be hell to pay if he's not there. And you, Weaver. Oh, you're looking for them? We want to talk to the bounty hunters. Now. This should be far enough. He didn't come after us. He must have been delayed. How are your injuries, Aloysia?
Just a scratch I took on the counter.
You won't be doing anything so dangerous when we're back in Lithuanian. You'll have plenty of time to recover.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
Anybody watching us?
No, sir. The reporters at the exit to the streets are busy interviewing someone. They won't be paying attention.
Then let's go. We must leave Casimir's now.
What about tomorrow's ceremony?
It's a shame. An excited reporter? You saved the lives of 22 children. What is your name and occupation? Are you an experienced rescuer?
How many of the children do you know? What made you decide to help so many people whom you've never met?
A sentimental reporter.
Where did you find them? You saw an injured child being sent to the hospital? What did you feel as you rescued him?
Out of the way. Out of the way. I need to find my son. A curious reporter. Your outfit is similar to the so-called Plastic Knight, who hasn't been seen for a while. Are you a fan of his? Did he inspire you to this valorous deed? Just like his wife said at the beginning of this section, eventually people will forget Shevchik the Plastic Knight, and it seems like they've forgotten very, very quick. Quick little flashback to a younger Shevchik. Plastic armor's good enough. I'm an archer and I don't let the opponent get near me. It may have been fun and games, but it's also true that nobody's come close to matching me. And think about it, there will be no ads printed on this armor. When I'm interviewed as the winner, I'll let the world know that I made it myself. It'll be a slap in the face for those big companies, for taking away our livelihoods with inferior mass-produced goods. Don't cry, I'll be fine. I'll yield if things aren't looking good, and I'll be back with you safe and sound. It's too late for an interview. Like I said, I'm picking up my son. Meanwhile, in another place, one informant was unfortunately lost in the accident, just as planned. No other casualties. Target has returned to his hotel, accompanied by his bodyguard. That's unfortunate. It would have given us an edge at the negotiation table if he'd gone off his own and gotten into an accident at the abandoned district. But impromptu plans rarely go smoothly. What about Nearl? Unknown. He must have left with someone familiar with the secret passages. Also, a letter just arrived. At this hour. Yes, sir. For your eyes only. From the bounty hunters. Alright. Back to your station. You know I keep my promises, Toland. The letter says, a certain someone says he recently dreamt of us. Come on, you must be so worried that you can't sleep. I know what you're planning, Chitsibor, and I suggest you think twice. You were always the calmest and most rational of us. I didn't use force or cause any trouble. All that happened is that someone sent us records of Gale Industries and your nightclub working with each other. As if there were another way. Meanwhile, back at the home of the Plastic Knight, the TV news, a man who did not wish to be named rescued more than 20 children from the fire in the abandoned district. Although he declined to talk about his experience and avoided cameras, witnesses report that his cloak was covered in ashes. A loud boy, "You were really cool, Dad." Now you think so?
I want to be a knight too.
No.
Why not? I want to be able to save people just like you.
That's not how it happened.
You always spend the whole day at home working on this stuff. Why not make me a suit of plastic armor too? Mom said we didn't used to have so much money. You used to make your own equipment because you had no sponsors.
She told you all that? Never mind. Starting tomorrow, you don't need to go to school. In fact, you're not allowed to go out at all until I say it's okay.
Huh? But I need to visit my friend at the hospital.
No. Haven't you learned your lesson? Do you want to sleep in a hospital bed too?
I'm not scared. Knights aren't scared of things like that.
Like I said, forget about becoming a knight. Knights can't protect people like you think. The bigger the dream, the bigger the disappointment. Now get to bed. And thus ends that part. But we will continue obviously with our second story for today, titled Sunken Sun. Now, here's the thing. This begins with a flashback between in which two people talk. This flashback will repeat at one point, so slight spoiler ahead. Now, I am not 100% sure as who the two individuals are. All I can guess is that it's either Schnitz and Jolanta talking to each other, or it's Schnitz and Mlynar talking to each other, because of the way this is written. And the second one I think makes more sense, but because I'm not 100% sure who is who here, I'll just keep on reading normally, I guess, for now. Anyway, Dad's letters are always the same thing, all stiff and serious. You still want to read it? It is the way of the knight to protect the poor and distraught, but one should be careful with one's companions. Do not let those whom you are tasked to protect suffer with you, nor should you obsess yourself with reforming the wicked and gathering the weak. There, he scolded you. Satisfied? He doesn't think twice what we're doing is wrong, just futile. He doesn't think what we're doing is wrong, just futile. To save the crops, you must first plow the soil. November 30th, 11:20 p.m. Village outside Zvonek. This humble village sure has been busy these past few days, what with all the knight captains and nobles gracing us with their presence. Isn't it so, Mr. Mlynar? Give the infected a place to stay. He's accused of inciting the riots. Is this the safe place that you told me about? You're handing me over to bounty hunters. Don't worry, you're not carrying enough cash to be worth robbing. Zeno just nervously touching his neck. So, if a good knight brought you here, that must mean you must know something. Do you have family? Do you need to send a message? Tell them to flee? Here, pen and paper. As for you, Mlynar, I guess you carry that sword around just to annoy folks in the Grand Knight territory. Since apparently you don't even need your weapon outside of the city. You've got a long line of people queuing up to claim your head in this place alone. Have you gotten so cocky that you thought you could take them all out with just a tree branch? Then why aren't you doing anything? I'm standing right here. But I entrusted my sword to the campaign knights for maintenance. I'm here for a grave matter, Toland. I know. I'm kidding, sheesh. You're picking up your weapon tomorrow, right? We would have been so sad over here if you'd forgotten all about us. After all, there's no guarantee that you'll be coming back from your meeting with him. Hey, don't give me that look. And don't tell me you don't suspect anything either. Why else would you be coming to me about a grave matter at this hour? What do you know? Just some educated guesses, but probably not far off what you're thinking. Why don't we give the poor man some space, though? Let him ride home in peace and quiet. The night is deep, but the lights at the River Valley factories just keep on shining. The former manor of House Palaniskos brings back memories, doesn't it? Pardon me, I saw smoke and thought there might be a fire. Did it disturb you? Nothing to worry about. I just threw a few notebooks in there. I suppose burned leather doesn't smell too nice. Good to hear it was nothing serious. Also, the Craftsman's Guild is asking about the sword. Leave it for now. It's a shame, but the owner probably won't be back to pick it up for a while. Yes, sir. All the preparations are ready for the ceremony tomorrow. Have a seat while you're here. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the operation. Yes, sir. But I'm just a junior knight. I'm not sure how useful my input could possibly be. Don't worry. I was only a junior knight when the previous captain ordered me to infiltrate Lithanian. You've seen and done the most in this operation so far. Your thoughts mean more than anyone else's. Besides, you're the Knight Primus of House Marek. You're no longer an ordinary knight. Thank you. So yeah, this is Marek Jr. House Marek prides itself on nurturing true warriors. To my shame, I have yet to... Actually, is he... Yeah, he's the only one who went. Yeah. For a second I thought, like, was there another one? No. To my shame, I have yet to have had the chance to bring glory to my family crest. Forgive me if I'm intruding, but what about you, sir? We've never heard you talk about it. True, it's something that knights would normally bring up, but the name of the house they serve has not been spoken of in years. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have asked. No worries, we're just having a chat. I used to live around here. When I was a child, Dzwonek roamed the borders, standing off against the cities of Lithanian. Great shadows moved across the wilds when the sun was out. Children who would later become knights used to pretend they were the great heroes of history, arguing over whose wooden spear found the other first. That's what brings me nostalgia. Were the knights of the house killed in battle? No, they committed treason. Oh. I was the young son of a retainer without status or position. When the family's collusion with Lithanian was discovered, its title was revoked by the Adeptus Praviltivli Casimirs. Wait, do you mean the legend of the Tenebro Knight? The ringleader of the traitor's house Palaniskos had gathered a dozen highly ranked campaign knights, but they were assassinated on the night they planned to carry out their plot. But surely these stories are exaggerated. How could anyone defeat so many knights on their own, not to mention the casters from Lithanian? The Tenebro Knight. I begged the young wanderer who barged into the banquet to show mercy, but no one who was party to the plot was spared. I suppose the whole scandal is no longer taboo, now that the dust has settled. The old captain didn't approve when I was first elected captain. The old captain didn't approve when I was first elected captain, remember? That was because he knew I wasn't willing to give up my life to defend my house's schemes. Instead, I asked for help in trying to stop them. As he put it, Putting justice above loyalty was a fatal flaw for a campaign knight. So, what do you think? I only know about the incident from what you guys told me. When the kid brought his friends, the boys were muttering that the noble brat had a trick or two up his sleeves. We even made a bet. If the rumors that you foiled the Lithanian plot were true, then how about the rumors that the second son of House Nearl was expelled from his house by the war hero Kirill because of gambling debts? Oh, don't get me wrong, we also bet on when Chitsibor will finally put together a flower crown for his Kuranta redhead. Or when you'd fix the bad habit of always seeing the best in people. What kind of person he used to be doesn't matter. If the contract you obtained is true, then his plot has cost the lives of countless innocents. It's from that little lawyer lady from the Grand Knight territory. Probably legit. To tell the truth, her handing over the documents on her own was an unexpected stroke of luck. We were planning to spook her a little bit to get the evidence, and you almost threw a wrench into things. As for the documents themselves, I don't think anyone realized their importance. According to the sender, she was probably just playing a little legal prank, just like how we only stopped by because we got a request for help from the village of Zvierza. But Chitsibor was really interested in it, even going as far as to use the investigation as an excuse to take bounty hunters into custody, just to stop me from questioning her. Which means that contract signed by Marek Jr. Has nothing to do with his house. It's all the nightclub behind him. And Gale Industries recruited the infected as requested, manipulating the media to publicize the attacks. The infected riots are the result of their machinations. Man, I thought I was close enough to the kid that he'd at least come and talk to me first. After all, my buddies definitely have surer hands than those infected he found. Do you think those businessmen ever stopped to think about what the campaign knights would have to gain when they're advertising their affiliates? This is more about than just causing a panic. They're trying to recreate how the Silverlands Pegasi entered the Grand Knight territory not too long ago. A simple show of force is of no value. And given Zvonek's traditions, the campaign knights don't even have to go so far to find an excuse to enter the city. Yeah, he would need to take your sword just for something like that. But he did talk about wanting to take revenge for Selena. I don't owe him an explanation. Sure, and you're not the only one who's aiming at it. He's aiming at, but I think there's a reason he set a particular time to return it. There's a ribbon-cutting ceremony tomorrow. Great minds think alike. Either everything will be over by then, and this keeps you out of it, and that's when it begins, or that's when it begins, and he wants you there for whatever reason. Worst case scenario, it's both. Like making you watch the Lithanian delegate die right in front of the sculpture representing peace between the two nations. Enough. He shouldn't be doing this. Wait, where are you going? He shouldn't let these things get to his head, nor should he resort to these unhanded means. I'll talk to him. Sorry, I suppose that was a difficult question. I only thought that if the target happened to show up in the slums tonight, perhaps, out of the naive logic we've heard from him, I believe that people still capable onto such ideals should not die, even if they are often the first to fall into the maws of fate. Huh. So why did you sign up for this operation? Everyone in the nightclub is of one mind about this. We agree that it's time for those who are dreaming away in the safe cocoons of the cities to wake up and face the reality of our struggles and the impeding threat. The Thanians' ambitions are obvious. Their war preparations have never halted. We should not remain idle while they are preparing to tear away the facade of peace. Even if this incident doesn't reignite the flames of war between Casimirs and the Thanian, the people will remember this time of turmoil. They'll understand who it is that truly protects them. That's what I said in my rallying speech, wasn't it? Sorry, but we all think the same way. If I had to come up with something else, the battlefield is the only place knights can truly find glory. We're an unremarkable nightclub stationed on the outskirts, with neither military exploits or a venerable tradition to call our own. Most of us come from branches or retainers of the great houses, without the prestigious bloodlines needed to make it into the great nightclubs. But as long as we get the chance to set foot on the battlefield, I know we will prove our mettle. We will not allow mere merchants to sell our victory, nor will we cover before the enemy's guns. If only all of Casimir shared our conviction. Don't say that. It's our job as knights to go to war. Let them be weak or fearful. We fight so that they don't have to, and in so doing, convince them to put faith in us. Is the wind blowing the smoke into your eyes? Perhaps you should move over here. I'm fine. Is that Captain Selina's diary that you're burning? Yes, I've read it enough times to have it memorized. But many of its records are no longer relevant. I wanted to dispose of it, lest it became our shackles in the future. You're right, we still miss her. You know, of course, how that conflict between the nobles disillusioned us with the Adeptus Pravilivi Casimirs. Hard to believe that we lost her to what began as a property dispute in a small village. No, it was no complicated political conflict. Of course, I won't forget those responsible for her death either. They simply found an opportunity to exact revenge on us after many years of waiting. We ticked off a lot of people in high places before we joined the campaign knights. They took her life as a warning to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to pry. No, it was never something that should be left unsaid. We wanted to help those struggling to make ends meet under crippling taxes. Those who lost their homes to the GCC's bulldozers. It's only human to feel sympathy for them. We've done nothing to be ashamed of. It was the nobles and merchants who colluded with the media to keep the silence covering up their crimes. It was a silence that should not exist, at least not among knights. No knight should ever bow down to wealth and power, but there is no shame in kneeling before suffering. I'll try to keep that in mind, if I ever get a chance. It's easier said than done, given the current state of Casimirs. Most who pursue their ideals here find themselves walking not on wide roads and flat terrain, but rather stumbling along the edge of a cliff. Those who throw themselves bravely into the abyss don't even make a sound. That's why I'm trying to bring the thunder of war to this land, and carve out a path amidst despair. You're going to find him? Where? The campaign knight camp? Where else? I wrote to him, you know? Anything there is to say I already did. I don't know if we can still convince him to turn back. Sitting around and watching this unfold is not an option, Toland. I can't stand idly by while he puts all his hopes on war. That's akin to admitting failure. Disillusionment leads to extreme solutions. It's because we understand that we're angry. Not at him, though, at the Casimirs that's driven us all to desperation. But even if you wanted to pit yourself against the entire nightclub and had the ability to do so, That's why he took your sword. There is nothing stopping me from trying to dissuade him. Why do you think the hunters were so willing to follow you back then? You don't have to make enemies of the campaign knights. And you don't have to be so reckless. I know what you're concerned about, of course. It's certainly harder for us to make a move when our brothers are still in their hands, and we could hardly expect to go head-to-head with campaign knights. But it's sad enough for Chitsibor to have gone rogue on us. Can't you at least give me the hope that not all knights are like that? Flashback again to the two conversing people at the beginning. I didn't like how my father saw things. Who decides who's the farmer and who are the crops? Who decides they could push crops into the earth to make it more fertile? No, I won't write this in the letter. A knight should not question endlessly, not without finding an answer into which he can place his trust. But I'll always remember the questions. I mean, I won't stop you if you still want to go and have a chat with him. I'll just sit here lamenting how friendships change. But really, think about it. Boss. What is it? The Lethanian noble is heading out quietly with his bodyguard. Now? They want to flee Casimir's at this juncture. Foolish. They will not elude the campaign knights. Looks like we're running out of time to talk this out. I came to meet up with a few new business partners. I ought to give them a heads up before defecation encounters ventilation. It wouldn't do to get them killed in this mess. And by the way, if you've read this sentence or heard this sentence just now and we're like, defecation encounters ventilation? Yes, he literally in a very polite manner said, when shit hits the fan. This guy. I have a grave matter to talk about, Toland. Protect the Lethanian. Deal. Any way we choose, as long as we can delay the campaign nights, right? Then we do this my way, as usual. What about you? I'm going to find Chitsibor. You never turned your back on anything that you felt was right, never mind putting it on a scale. One last question then. You're not expecting this to end peacefully, are you? The night wind is chilling, and the only sound in the darkness is the rushing river. The factories stand quietly in the river valley, their massive steel silhouettes illuminated by their lights. People still believe they can bring back the sunset, a time when blood and fire had warmth, when there was a long path ahead of them. Now, though, there is no time to reminisce. No time for nostalgia or anger at all that has changed. Mlynar extends his hand. Give me a sword. Affirmative. Target is on the expressway towards the city exit. He couldn't even wait until tomorrow's ceremony, knowing full well that a diplomatic incident would ensue. Should we take control of the gates and stop the target from leaving? Is anyone else monitoring him? The only people nearby are two homeless sleeping on the streets. Commandeer the foreign visitor gate. Call it a security checkpoint. Yes, sir. Excuse me. A runner just brought urgent orders. They're signed by the Grand Knight herself. The entire nightclub has been ordered to withdraw from Dzwonek immediately and report to the Grand Knight territory. Ah, no bullshittery for you, boys. Well, unless that will now expedite whatever they're planning. But anyway, this will be our today's part. Tomorrow we will finish it off with our last two stories and see how this story ends. But anyway, I would also like to say that I hope I'm not the only one, I'm probably not the only one who thinks that Toland should become a playable character at some point. Like, let's put it this way. He has, just like Chefchik, but I don't believe anything will happen with Chefchik, but Toland definitely has one of those. He's a mercenary, so circumstances and stuff, he could become hired, for example, through Mlynar to work for Rhode Island for a bit, for a mission or two, which would make him a viable operator, right? And second off, he has a very detailed character model, plus they actually gave him a very detailed CG. So you cannot tell me that sometime down the road this mofo is not gonna become a playable character, right? One can dream. Anyway, this will be all for today. Thank you all for watching and listening. Next part should be out tomorrow, considering how short this one was. Yeah, in the meantime, if you've liked this video, please consider leaving a like and maybe a comment in the comment section below. Any and all interaction with the videos helps it being pushed in the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel and like this narration so far, please consider subscribing. There is a lot more on the channel for your perusal. So, thank you all. I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.